Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Megan, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, I'm Platter series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. I go over there to try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff. Then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I seem pretty spunky for a guy who's running on an hour's worth of sleep. So, let's all just let's just bask in my greatness just for a couple seconds. Or conversely, I am getting a little wacky. Or conversely. But no, folks, it's a super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside the truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I'm wearing grody work clothes. Typically, when I'm inside the truck and I'm wearing grody work clothes, that means that I was on my way home from work and I found some shit to review for you. That is not the case with this particular item. I actually got this item at work. They got a little break room at my work for lunches and what have you. And they used to just have a vending machine. And that was it. And for the first 2 years that I worked there, all I did was just eat shit out of the vending machine. But then they went over there, they actually got a proper kiosk and freezers, and there's a whole thing. And every now and again they add in a new item. And I saw this one and I was like, yeah, I'll buy that and review it later. So, what did I buy at the break room at my work? What am I trying for you today, folks? Well, it's Poppi! But not like the Playtime, the video game thing with the blue guy and shit. No, this is Poppi, which just sounds a little bit naughty, I guess, but it's Poppi Prebiotic Soda, specifically Doc Pop flavor, for a healthy gut. Be gut happy, be gut healthy. 3% juice. How much sugar do you have? 5 grams of sugar. It's not a lot, but pop cultured facts. No one wants a basic drink, so make every hour happy with this bubbly, better for you prebiotic soda that keeps your gut happy and gives you a boost. Classic flavors that are downright delicious, blah, blah, blah. And then it's got prebiotics for a healthy gut, infused with apple cider vinegar, okay. Immunity, sidekick, and natural caffeine. Okay. I've reviewed prebiotic sodas and shit like this on the channel before. They're very hit or miss. Sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not okay. But let's get a thing for the thing. Thing for the thing. Ha 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 ha! Sure. I'm guessing with it being called Doc Pop, that it's Dr. Pepper, basically. And I don't think I've had one of these where it was a Dr. Pepper, at least that I can remember. So, if that's a Dr. Pepper, that's a weird-smelling Dr. Pepper. Okay. Okay. It is trying to be basically a Dr. Pepper. But, yeah. Well, okay. Alright, I have lots of thoughts about this one. And it's kind of interesting, too, because it has natural caffeine in it, whereas Dr. Pepper, I don't think, has caffeine in it. So, yeah, it tastes kind of like a generic Dr. Pepper knockoff. But here's the thing. It's not like they went over there and decided to knock off the normal Dr. Pepper. It's like they decided to knock off Diet Dr. Pepper. Which kind of makes some sense because, they're trying to be healthy-ish and this, that, and the other thing and blah, 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 blah. And mind you, when it comes to any of the stuff they're talking about, the prebiotics, all that shit, please do your own research. I clearly am not a fucking medical professional of any type. I'm not a scientist or, anybody realistically that you need to be listening to unless it's about the flavor and the whole thing. So, but yeah, so initially I was kind of like, oh, it's got a little bit of a Dr. Pepper flavor, but then it kind of dialed it back and it was like, oh, it has a Diet Dr. Pepper flavor, which if you're old enough to remember, you're like me and you're a million years old, back in the day when they first kind of started heavily marketing Diet Dr. Pepper, they had a whole ad thing where they were talking about, oh, you can't even tell the difference. It's so good. It's just, you can't even. That was the whole catch, was that Diet Dr. Pepper was so good, couldn't even tell the difference from normal Dr. Pepper, and that was bullshit. I like Diet Dr. Pepper, but it 100% is not as good as normal Dr. Pepper. You can taste the difference. It's not even close. But that's what this tastes like. It just kind of tastes like a slightly weak Diet Dr Pepper. It doesn't have the same like factor to it. It doesn't have like that nice like proper refreshing Dr Pepper, formula to build off of. It's just a rough facsimile of that flavor. And that's typically what these type of things are. I mean, I forget the Dr Pepper thing is. It's like 28 flavors or some shit, that make up the Dr Pepper flavor. Something like that. And it's like it's never been fully divulged, but they basically can work out like, okay, if we put this shit in it, it'll taste basically like Dr Pepper. In this case, they managed to kind of make it taste like Diet Dr Pepper, but even then, it doesn't taste as good as Diet Dr Pepper either. But it almost has a little bit of an extra fruitiness to it that you don't really get from Dr Pepper. It's not a bad thing, but it's a little bit off-putting because, again, it's trying to be a Dr Pepper, and it's like, that's not a flavor that I associate with Dr Pepper. I mean, some of them do have fruit flavors, cherry and what have you, but yeah. It's fine otherwise. The one thing that I was worried about with the prebiotic thing, some of them basically just taste like medicine, just straight up. And I think the first one I ever reviewed was like a prebiotic root beer, and God almighty was that just horrid. So I guess maybe they're getting better at it? I don't know. I don't know how they're advancing with prebiotic soda technology, but, this one's pretty good. Like, there's no weird taste to it or anything. Like, it just, for the most part, tastes like just kind of like a weak Diet Dr Pepper knockoff. It's inoffensive. There's no, weird aftertaste or anything. It's perfectly fine. I think that if I didn't, read the marketing thing, the prebiotics and shit, I'd just think that it was like some dollar store Diet Dr Pepper. It's perfectly fine. It's kind of weak. Doesn't have that factor. It doesn't have the oomph that, the proper Dr. Pepper does. Which is, as time goes by and they get a little bit better and a little bit better, you'll be able to kind of match it up a little bit. But it's perfectly fine for what it is. 2 questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Maybe and sure. So, here's the thing. For me personally, I don't drink a lot of... I try to not drink a lot of soda these days anyway. I'm not great at that, but I do try not to. And I have dialed back considerably from when I was younger. I love me some Dr. Pepper. It's one of my favorite sodas. Absolutely love it. Would I get this over a Dr. Pepper? Fuck no. If I want a Dr. Pepper, I want a Dr. Pepper. I'm not going to get a Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm going to get a Dr. Pepper. But, that said, there are certainly instances, because I will drink Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm actually perfectly fine with it. Again, marketing bullshit aside. It's just, I wouldn't get this if I wanted a Dr. Pepper. I would get this if I just wanted an okay beverage, but maybe didn't want as much sugar, that kind of thing. That's sort of where this falls in for me. The prebiotic stuff, again, I don't. Look at me. Do I look like I have a degree? I have a high school degree. I have a diploma. I went to a little bit of community college. Where I just bullshitted the whole time. But no, it's okay. There's nothing horrible about it. It's not a great soda or anything, but yeah, so that's kind of where the thing is. If I was feeling like I particularly wanted something along those lines, but just maybe not as much sugar and stuff, sure. And by that same token, I think that if you're the audience for this, I think you already have your own opinion on it. So my take on it is more for people who are maybe curious or, maybe they're just kind of maybe thinking about looking at some of these alternatives. It's perfectly fine. It will not satiate you properly in a Dr. Pepper fashion, I don't believe. But, it's not a bad soda. Tastes a little bit like Diet Dr. Pepper. It's nothing horrible about it. It's just a little bit meh. So, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of the week, monumental rest of the month, spend this rest of your folks. Go over there, have yourselves a truly proper Dr. Pepper-tastic rest of your life. Let's just be honest, folks. It's just, I want them to go over there, like, they've been doing some of the, like, an occasional, like, retro soda, thing here and there. Like, let's bring back some of the weird Dr. Peppers, right? They had, like, was it, like, Dr. Pepper Red back in, like, the early 2000s? That was, like, when Pepsi Blue came out and shit like that. Come on, man, let's, just do it as, like, a little comeback thing. But anyway, final 2 things. I'm so out of it, folks. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity in the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do all the time, I know I can't do all the time. Here's what you do, folks. You're trying not to be an asshole. Folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just, ugh. And when we have to deal with those situations in our lives, it's important we go over there, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholeshness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, the thing for me, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to go inside, I'm going to hug the hell out of my cat, because I love my cat, I'm going to make sure that the cat has food and water and all that good stuff. Then I'm going to go check on my hamsters, and if any of them are out, they're going to go over there and get cuddles and kisses, because I love the fuck out of them, too. Same thing with my hedgehog, but I know that he won't be out, because he's a grumpy little hedgehog who's like, brr, 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 brr. I only get to see him a couple times a week. But I'm going to go straight to sleep after that. Once I'm sure that the animals are secure and everybody's happy and healthy, sleep time for Brandon. And hopefully, if you have animals, you have the opportunity to go over there and love on them and, enjoy their company and stuff, because they're wonderful and awesome. Sometimes they just make life worth living. Anyway, bye!